Hey everybody, welcome to a new episode of Mental Rest Day. Kind of been a funny week, huh? But we all made it through. That's the important part. Today is Saturday, and I hope all of you are having a fantastic Saturday. It's always weird talking about yourself in the future a little bit, like today's Friday for me. My Friday was pretty good. And I do have to work tomorrow, but I think generally I am a pretty happy individual, which is really functionally a good thing. Like even when I have bad days, I'm able to, that's kind of interesting. I don't really feel like I have bad days, actually. I think that, even like when my day starts kind of bad, I'm able to pretty easily flip it into being a good day. Just from like listening to positive music, eating things that make me happy, coming and do physical activity 6 days a week, and if I'm on a rest day, filling that rest day with something else that's like super satisfying to me. So even like when I have like mentally exhausting days, when I have tougher days than normal because maybe some stuff is going on in my life, I think my general hobbies keep me in a mostly like jovial, upbeat sense of self. I've come to learn that maybe that's not the norm. Like, I made a post a while back where I said every day is legitimately the best day of my life. And on some level, I really do believe that. I have a couple of really hard days a year. But outside of that, probably like 362 are just phenomenal. Like, glad to be alive, feeling the wind on my skin, looking at, the sunrise, seeing a butterfly, like all of those little things that maybe some of us come to take for granted, being, alive and something we see every day. It's easy to miss, I guess, the splendor and grandeur of it all. And I think my pro-life tip for all of us here today, we're starting off kind of serious, aren't we? My pro-life tip for everyone today is just to take a moment and really appreciate those things. I don't want to say like bad things could happen at any moment, but it would suck to be in a situation where you regret not being able to live life when you could. I think we only really know when we're happy after the fact, when we're retrospective about it. You don't know what happiness felt like until you remember being happy. You don't remember how important seeing the sunset was until you're locked in a padded room because the asylum staff finally caught back up to you. And you're not allowed windows because you escaped last time through a small crack in a window by dislocating all the joints in your body. Just me? Okay, maybe that one doesn't apply to you guys. You might have a window. But that's enough of my semi-serious, semi-joking rant for today. We have a shoulder and a chest day. We're closing in on 100 subs, which is really epic and exciting. So huge thank you to everyone who has subbed so far. This little YouTube journey has been fantastic so far. I need to stop looking at my analytics and just post stuff. It's like the first thing. Some people like check their text messages. Some people check like their Instagram DMs, their emails, like work stuff, whatever it is. But like I literally scroll all that stuff to the side. I'm like, nope, don't care. Open up YouTube, see like views, see retention, see click-through rate, and I'm just like, okay. Yeah, this is doing good. This is doing good. That's not doing so good. And it's like just a new like hyper fixation, and I really need to accept the fact that I have a new channel, and it is going to go up and it is going to down, and there's going to be no correlation for anything I am doing. But man, am I addicted to looking. But I did want to say a huge shout out to everybody who has subbed, everyone who has commented, everybody who has continuously been enjoying all this rambling, ranting that I've been putting out while doing half-assed workouts in the gym. I do not anticipate stopping. So, with that being said, we are going to pack this little camera up, and I'll see you in there. Alright, so got my cardio out of the way early today. So I'm a little bit sweaty already. But our first exercise is going to be a little machine shoulder press, and it's a new weight. So always doing new weight here in gym therapy / rest day. So let's get this set, see how it feels, and go from there. That was a hard 6. Obligatory. That's tough. Man, I've been having some devious thoughts lately. I was having my near 2,000 calorie lunch today, and I thought to myself, I've been bulking since I started working out. Eating in a surplus, trying to gain weight. And now I've had the devious thoughts. Maybe I should cut. Thoughts? Can you get some thoughts in the chat? Because it's, I'm starting to hit the natty wall, where it's like, yeah, I could keep putting on more size, but I'm gonna lose leanness. And I like seeing my musculature. I'm kind of like, I wouldn't say addicted to it, but it's really my quads. Like seeing the different muscles in your quads are really what's been driving my gym progress lately. And it's not exactly cheating, but I don't know how much more weight I can put on realistically without compromising the overall aesthetics. And we're bodybuilders, right? So aesthetics matter. You think I'm working out to be strong? No. I'm working out so I look good. And it's just like an added bonus that I feel good, right? I have a hot take for everyone. I think new shoes are gross. Like, there's something about seeing like a brand new shoe that my mind disagrees with. A little bit scuffed, a little bit beat up, a little bit old, like a worn shoe. I think it's stylistically superior to a brand new shoe. I don't like the way brand new shoes look. There's something in my lizard brain that recoils like a vampire in the sunlight when I see a brand new shoe. Anyone else? There's only shoes, right? You don't want to walk around with a dirty shirt or like some dirty pants. However, like a patched flannel, like patches on maybe some jeans, I'm not exactly dirty, but like it's worn, it's rugged, it's used. It's like an appropriate piece of clothing to be a little bit rugged. Also a vibe. Not enough people, at least where I live, partake in the rugged clothes. It's all like very new, very fashionable. Not even fashionable. I don't know if I would consider anybody really where I live very fashionable, actually. It's like very plain. Everybody's wearing fairly plain clothes. Or maybe I just don't frequent the right venues. Maybe I, too, wear traditionally plain clothes. I mean, I do. Literally, my outdoor clothes are just gym clothes. But I think part of that is just the fact that I am unwilling to invest in new clothes while I'm bulking. Because nothing is more painful than buying something and then immediately having to replace it because you gain weight. And you're just like, cool, I threw away $60 per shirt and more for pants. Why do girls' clothes cost more than boys' clothes also? I get like the fashion of it drives up cost, and the fashion industry is very geared towards perhaps getting all of the pennies out of ladies as it can. But like, man, men are bigger. Men have more cloth. Fundamentally, I feel like men's clothes should be more expensive. Like, and they could sell it to me. Like, even though like I'm not buying my stuff really for fashion most of the time, but if they just literally sat me down in a room and said, Chris, it's not the fashion. It's just you're wearing 50% more cloth. That's 50% more garment that underage children have to sew. I'd be like, oh, fair. I get it. Here's my money. Let's get a set. I'm gonna try and hit 3 shoulders. Sheesh. So, I started watching Kaiju number 8. That was whiplash, right? Going from the fashion industry to anime. Anyway, brace your necks. Don't sue me as you fall out of your car. Started watching Kaiju number 8, fully caught up. And I did the thing, damn it. I did the thing that I hate doing. I started watching it. Really liked it. Immediately, the very next day, go read 100 chapters of it. I just can't help myself. I just literally cannot help myself. It's an addiction. It's an addiction of knowledge. Like once I start, like I know the information is out there, I have to obtain all of it. I know. Everyone pity me. Such a burden, such a curse. Nobody ever gets that little phrase of mine. Like I've said it like dozens of times in the past like decade of my life. Sometimes with the correct Romanian accent. And nobody ever picks up what it's from. But for all you guys, my besties in the chat, it is from Dracula in the Van Helsing movie. With the guy who plays Wolverine, Hugh Jackman. I really like that movie. It's critically apparently bad, but I like the whole like kind of alternate lore of Dracula and the monster hunting and all that kind of stuff. And he's just like, Gabriel, it must be such a burden, such a curse. It's like totally at random. But as I talked about, like, I think it was like last gym rest day with Agent Smith and it's the smell. That's another one of those things that just like stuck in my head and I just can't shake it out. I'm a very yawny boy today. I had twice as much carbs for lunch as I usually do. Even though carbs create glucose, and glucose are essential for your body to function, it still is harder for your body to process carbs. So I think I'm hitting a whiplash of the bread processing mid-workout, and I drank my energy drink too early because, as you all know, I don't drink energy drinks for the energy. I'm drinking them because I just enjoy them, like the taste. But don't worry, it's going to be 9 o'clock when I get out of here, and the way that I'm going to immediately brew a cup of coffee as I make dinner is I just love me a cup of coffee. Something about a warm drink in the evening really does it for me. Some of my friends are like, well, Chris, why don't you just drink tea and then you don't have to deal with the caffeine? Nay, I like the taste of coffee too. Like, it's a warm drink plus the taste of coffee. Let's get this last sip. Alright, let's pretend to be strong for the camera. Guys, I swear I'm not weak. We're done. So next, we're going to do some kind of chest pushing movement. I, however, have not decided which we will partake in. We'll figure it out. All right. So next exercise is just going to be an incline machine press. Got a little treat after this. I've decided that my second talking point, like first little talking point, first machine on our mental rest day, is just going to be our traditional whatever pops into my brain. But following that, I think I am going to talk about my writing. So, little writing tree. I think it's going to keep me a little more invested in working on it all the time. Because if I'm invested, if I know I have to talk about it once a week, it's going to help me stay focused and motivated to continue actually writing. So, little writing treat after this first time. I'm wondering if I should read another passage, or perhaps I should talk a little bit more about, you know what, I think what's best is if this is like my plot hook, the idea behind the book itself. So, for over 1,000 generations, Lanethil has been at peace, kept safe from the warring tribes of demonkin, centaurs, and giants by the bloodline of Tiberius and his Kingsguard. It is said in stories that have now become legend, Tiberius was blessed with purpose and strength by Io to free humans from their shackles, raising them from a meager existence as slaves into the prosperous society we see today. The world has changed, and many of the old tribes have become prosperous kingdoms in their own right, but old wounds rarely fully heal. Wild demons roam ever closer to the walls of Lanethil, manifestations of death and destruction. Few can hope to survive an encounter, and fewer can claim to have bested one in combat. Lanethil itself has become a melting pot of cultures, from the alliances forged by man, who helped free them all those years ago. Strong bonds between humans, elves, dwarves, and orcs keep the city safe from all those who wish to tear it down. With every new king come the most promising and skilled warriors of Lanethil. The new Kingsguard are chosen. Bestowed with a portion of Tiberius' strength, they lead the armies of man and continue to forge a brighter future for their people. As it has been done countless times before, each of the small townships surrounding the capital city have received a missive to send their most promising young warriors to train, and if they are worthy, perhaps even become the next Kingsguard. But a great change is believed to be on the horizon. The great mages of Akanoon have seen visions of famine and destruction, with a monarch that has gone silent, whispers of treachery filled all the houses. Let's get another set, and then I'll give you like an overview of the world. I actually have a map. I drew out it's a whole thing. Let me, cause like, just like with like Game of Thrones, just like with like D&D and Faerun, just like, you know, Lord of the Rings, Middle Earth, like having a map, I feel like helps you write your story, right? Sometimes the locations write the narrative. So I think there's a whole map. We gotta drip feed you content, right? I can't say too much because then you guys won't buy the book. So let's get a set in, and then I'll talk about the world a bit. Or it's like all of my subscribers on YouTube, if they have been subscribed long enough and knew where to look, by the time I actually finish my book, they'll have already experienced the whole thing, so they've saved you all money. Maybe that's like my thank you to all the long-term viewers. Let's get a set. I don't know where I would place this ever. This would be on like maybe like the website, but I found when I was writing, it made sense to outline all the factions, sort of like kind of figure out major players in the world, perhaps, because then once you figure out major players, it's easier to write your narrative. So The year is 782 PC, post-collapse. What that means? Well, you'll just have to stick around and find out. In the east, the kingdom of man has grown strong behind the walls of Lanathil in the ever-prosperous lands beneath the fiery mountain of Ruinae, which is, I think, an Elvish word for volcano. At least my Elvish word for volcano. The crescent island of Vanya, to the south of Lanathil, is said to be home of the elves. Only a small few still call the mainland home today, as most have migrated back for the harvesting of the World Tree Seed, an event not seen in over 10,000 years. In the center of the continent, it's like a horseshoe almost shape, the great Eridu mountain range, capped by Tel Artur, nearly bisects the world, housing the great mage tower of Aken. They offer relative safety to those that live outside of the Lanathil's walls. The dwarven clans, led by King Droll the Adamantine, call the mountains home, carving great cities and passageways rumored to be as expansive and grand as the heavens. The dwarves have grown reclusive over the generations, burying themselves in their work. It is not uncommon, however, to see them drinking the taverns dry in the capital city. In the north is the region of Hetalatho. The harsh, cold tundra is dotted with the tribes of Ringa. Tradition is central to their culture, seeking simple lives in tune with Arture, the name of the planet. They do not mince words and will defend their home with the strength of their ancestors. I guess think of them as like 8 to 9 foot tall humans, very stocky, muscular. They live off the land, they're very tribalistic. They have like mystical magic almost, like a shamanistic type culture, I would say. In the west is the land of Nargun, home of Tol Dagor, a city of fiends. Queen Volda has ruled over the region with an iron fist for over 2,000 years. The Demon Queen is also credited with the negotiation of the Eridu Concord, under which neither the forces of Lanathil or Nargun would cross the eastern peaks of the Eridu mountain range. A darkness shrouds Nargun. Few who venture there return, and those who do are rarely the same. In the far west is the Kementari Islands, a series of unexplored landmasses only ventured to by grizzled sailors and pirates who tell fantastical stories of magical islands and strange beasts that inhabit the mysterious landscapes. Only the bravest, or perhaps foolish, attempt the voyage there. Lanathil, the greatest city of the Alliance, stands as a testament to the strength and unity of humans, elves, dwarves, orcs, and Goliaths. Since the Great Splintering, the city has been ruled over by King Tiberius' lineage and protected by the King's Guard. The city itself is separated into 5 districts, each overseen by a noble house. And King's Guard is kind of where the plot kind of is centralized and revolves. That's where, as you can guess, our heroes are prospective King's Guard initiates. So a lot of the story starts there and kind of revolves around the politics of Lanathil. So the noble houses in order. We have the Alastair family, who oversees the docks and warehouse in the Eastern District, presiding over the trade and manufacturing of goods in the city. Nothing passes through the docks without an Alastair eye looking it over. The Bancrofts ensure the order of the city, enforcing the law of the king. They operate in the shadows, calling the Central District home, backing the Royal Guard. They handle threats and issues best kept out of the public eye. And we have Goodwin Manor, which is located in the Western District of the city, along with the residential areas for the citizens of Lanathil. The Goodwins manage the zoning and planning of new construction, as well as the renovations throughout the city. Rumor is a map of the city only tells a fraction of the secrets within, but a Goodwin could show you a world few know exists. Lucius Hildebrand oversees the Mage Quarter in the north, home of the Enchanters Guild, as well as the city's Mage Tower and Library. Lucius is a man of mystery, hosting lavish galas in his manor with guests from all across Artura. Hildebrands have gained a reputation of generosity and hospitality far above all the other noble houses. And finally, we have House Galerius, the newest noble house recognized by the crown. Nestled in the southern reaches of the city, they have amassed great wealth through their monopoly on tourism and entertainment in the city. If you stay at an inn or spend a coin on leisure, you could bet where it was going. Few have met Lady Valerius, and those that do rarely speak more than a few small words about it. I think that's enough info dumping, though. So that's our second Little King's Guard teaser. Let's get this final set in. one more. That was right. But I'm gonna go find another chest exercise, and I will see you there. Alright, deltoid raise. Let's get it going. That's a good semi-work, semi-warm-up weight. And unfortunately, as with everything I do in my life, I think I should turn this a little bit. Like, let me do that. Yeah, it's better. So as with everything in my life, I'm like writing, of course, but I'm also like concurrently writing a bunch of stuff. Like, so I'm writing my Kingsguard novel. I've also like kind of loosely penned the sequel novel, Kingsguard 2, while also writing a novel called Edenforge, which is a sci-fi political adventure book. Kind of like, if you're familiar with Gundam, how Gundam's very like action-packed, but it also like says stuff, I feel like, about kind of the progress of humans and the problems that we have with each other and the politics behind everything. So it's like an adventure, but it's a little bit more. I know some people don't care. Like, I saw this as like a big critique of like the prequel trilogy. Nobody cared about the Trade Federation and the blockade of Naboo and the politics in the Senate and all that kind of stuff. They're like, this doesn't belong in Star Wars. I don't care about it. It's really boring. But it's like, as a kid, and granted, I watched this when I was like 7, right? That was one of the more interesting parts of the movie for me. Like, seeing how the universe worked and how bureaucracy stopped, like, things that should happen was very interesting to me. And I think it somehow also shaped some of my tastes and the kind of literature I like. Like, I love a good, like, you know, adventure story that's wholesome and never gets deeper than the hero wins at the end. But man, when there's like political intrigue and there's people working in the shadows and you have to deal with the, like, in any story, in any universe, like, there would be politics. There would be ramifications for people's actions. Like, I'm not saying it's like the hero kills the villain, but then he has to deal with the fact that he just committed capital murder. Like, that's like getting a little bit too in the weeds. But I think it's interesting when the politics of the world also influence the world. You're not living in a vacuum that only the hero resides in. How our hero's actions impact kind of the rest of the world and the narrative. So that's like the sci-fi aspect of it. How like, if anyone's familiar with The Expanse, how like humanity moved. It's a little bit higher fantasy than say The Expanse is. Science fantasy instead of like science fiction. The Expanse is more science fiction. So it kind of gets into the realm of science fantasy, but how humans migrated to several other places in our solar system, be it the asteroid belt and Mars, and the way that those cultures, even though they were all humans, eventually they started seeing themselves as different, right? Like different cultures entirely, and they stopped getting along, and trade became difficult, and the relations became difficult. And that's kind of where I'm going with mine. Just like, even though like you might be the same exact people, but if we were to colonize our own solar system over hundreds of years, would those people not see themselves as separate entities? I mean, when we look at just our own planet, how different people feel just being in different countries, and that's only hundreds of miles away. So it kind of touches on that. And then of course I run D&D for my friends, and I'm currently running a Naruto campaign. That's what we're currently playing. On the side, we're in our anime era for sure right now. On the side we have a My Hero Academia campaign. We also have a Bleach campaign that is like halfway through. We took a break on that. I think half the fun of D&D is starting over, like playing new characters, but I have a personal goal in mind that we always finish everything Sometimes it's cool to play a campaign for 6 months and then switch back to something else for like Act 2 where you finish it up and then go back to something else, and that's kind of how we do it. It's pretty rare that we start a campaign and finish it all in one go because people get burnt out, and I like long narrative storytelling, and it'd be a big ask to say, let's just like run this the entire time without spicing it up a little bit with some breaks. Also, distance makes the heart grow fonder. So when you get to like play like through like a chapter or an arc or whatever, you're really getting into your character. You're seeing how like the decisions they made, the people they interacted with, like loss of loved ones, and NPCs that the players cared about. Because I don't run D&D like you go in the dungeon and you get loot. Like, it is a narrative game. I think it's good to sit on that stuff for a while, and then you come back to it and you get to think like, man, all that stuff happened. How has my character changed? And you had enough time in the real world to have changed a bit yourself. Because my players are really good at getting into character and RPing it out. And, that's why I love my group. They're also all my friends, but it's so crazy how coincidentally all of my friends also love strong narrative storytelling, and we're not just rolling dice to see who can hit the monster the hardest. Don't get me wrong, that's fun. Nothing's crazier than critting and then critting again, but I think the moments we always remember in our group are the narrative ones, and I love that. Let's get a sound. I'm yappy today a bit. I don't want to know how long I've been recording. Like, one of those narrative moments, I said I was going to be done like with my writing, but I love my writing so much. One of those moments that I've written recently that really stick with me, because like narrative is like, I love it. There's this man named Petra. He's a mage. He's had a hard life, and kind of his backstory is he married a woman, but he had this mission that he had to track down the remnants of this lich called Rindro, who kind of like Sukuna-esque split his spirit into multiple cursed objects that had to be destroyed. Otherwise, he was able to more or less manifest in those who were foolish enough to wear them. So he ends up, finding a family, but he can't put aside his quest to track down this being because it's ultimately bad for the world. And unfortunately, his wife passes away, and he was never really there for his daughter outside of in passing. And then, when his wife did pass, he didn't know how to be a father because he was never there. And how do you be there when you never had that relationship to begin with? And he blamed himself. A mage as powerful as he is wasn't around to save his wife. He eventually runs into his daughter as she finds the MacGuffin in the birthplace of the demonkin. And I kind of talk. This is Kingsguard, and she was kicked out of the college for practicing, perhaps not really the College of Akhendu. She was, of course, inherited her father's potential, and she was kicked out of the college for practicing magic that maybe she shouldn't have, and it ended up getting a student killed. And she says, "Father, about Naja in the college." Liara's voice trails to a whisper as she's cut off. "Those relics who stalk the halls of Akhendu are fools. Why sit in some dusty tower when the world lies before you? Every nook and cranny pulses with knowledge. You are not them, and you never will be. Let them have their books. You will unearth tomes lost to time, secrets hidden in the darkest depths of the earth." Petra turns to look at his daughter with a smile. "And one day, all will marvel at your brilliance." And it's just a moment that small really resonates with me because part of my writing comes from, I suppose, my trauma, and anytime I see very wholesome parent-child moments in media, it really gets me, and I like stuff like that because maybe I didn't have it. So naturally when I write it, it hits me and it makes me emotional, and I think generally just seeing broken homes come together, people who don't maybe know what to say when tragedy occurs, because someone might be your parent. This is my moral advice. This is my social interaction advice between you and your parents, I suppose, and maybe you and your child if you have children. You're not perfect, and I don't think anyone really expects you to be. And sometimes I think we do get lost in not knowing what to say, blaming ourselves for things that maybe are not our fault. And sometimes you don't even have to say sorry. Sometimes it's understood that it was hard. The thing you were going through, the reason you didn't reach out, whatever stopped you, they know, right? Your daughter knows, your mother knows, your father knows. And sometimes just reaching out, saying, hey, how are you, is all you need to do, right? People's troubles are not lost on other people. You don't need to feel guilty if the thing you did was not done out of malice. And I think that's kind of the point of that, right? He blames himself for not being there. She feels guilty that she somehow let him down by getting failed out of college, and neither of them really knew how to connect or interact. And he was about to conjure a portal right at the beginning of that and leave, and she's like, you know what, it's my only chance. I want to apologize. I want to, she's holding guilt, she's holding blame, but he only ever loved her, right? He has his own blame that he's still working through, but at the end of the day, that's his daughter, and she always will be, regardless of what he's done. And I think that's beautiful. I'm getting emotional. Let's get a set. What's wrong with me? Alright, what else am I writing? Oh, I have this kind of short story horror thing that I'm working on. It's tentatively called Biohazard, because I think that's interesting. It's the Japanese name for Resident Evil. It's loosely inspired by that. I don't know what I'm gonna name it to make it my own, but it's a very grounded. An outbreak happens, zombie apocalypse-esque, but really it's the government testing chemicals on people, causing this. It's not it's not Dead Space style magical pillars turning people into monsters. It's like a government facility secretly doing tests, and there's an outbreak, and these totally random normal people are caught in the middle of it. I don't know. I've got my hands in so many cookie jars. It's insane. I need to focus up. I need to lock in, as they say. Well, I'm never gonna finish anything. I also need to lock into this workout because I am wasting time. Let's get another set in real quick. I'm about torched on the ultimate range. So I think we're gonna. Why is Train playing on my Spotify? Love Train. Love the two songs that kind of popped off, but I'm not trying to listen to any more than those two songs. What is it? Drops of Jupiter and Soul Sister? Hey, Soul Sister. Whatever that song is. Y'all know what I'm talking about. All my Train lovers in the chat. But since it is minor chest day, mostly shoulder day, we do 3 and 2. Oh, I did dips already. Sorry, that was off camera. I thought I was just gonna warm up with them, which is why I didn't film it. But then I ended up just going kind of hard. So we're gonna do another shoulder for our Rio delt, and then we're gonna do a chest Why is my brain not working? It's... You'll see. It's the same machine that we use for rear delts. Anyway, you'll see when we get there. My brain is having a dump. It's been a long week. Alright. It was flies. How could I forget flies? Anyway, let's do our rear deltoid first. We'll get to our flies. I kind of yapped about literature more than I intended to today. Hopefully you guys are a fan of that. As always, if you guys want to comment, how are you doing? Something new in your life? Did you start a new hobby? Get a new job? Adopt a new pet? Or perhaps a pet adopted you? That's how I feel like some of these things go in our real life. It's hard to see a stray kitten and not immediately yoink it. That's my weakness. That's my red flag. I see pets alone outside, and my immediately thought is, will this financially destroy me if I adopt another one? Because, like, if it's a dog, like Kyoshi could use a friend. And if it's another cat, well, one's an unacceptable number for cats. So I got Luther, a friend. Megatron, some of you are familiar. I don't know if I've ever shown Megatron. It's kind of goofy that I named my cat Megatron. But then, like, 2 is, like, such a dull number. Like, 2. If you have 2, why not 3? Right? Well, maybe I'm just looking for reasons to have a third cat. I love cats. Some people, like, look at me, and they're like, oh, you must be a dog person, because you got, like, a medium-sized to large dog. And I'm like, no. I got this dog in my I'm dying alone era. Really, I'm a cat man. Because I felt like a dog can give you more, like, a lot more continuous affection. Like, no doubt my cats love the hell out of me. But I feel like my dog, like, never needs a break from loving me. Never needs to sleep for, 16 to 18 hours like my cat does. Like, if I'm up and I'm like, hey, Kyoshi's like, yo, what up? What are we doing? What are we getting into? We going to rob a bank? We taking over the world? I'm down. So, I guess that's the benefit of having a dog. Let's get a set. I'm trying to be a little bit quicker because I feel like I've yapped too much. Sorry guys, my mental rest day, I'm just talking too much. That was a new weight, by the way. So that's epic. Let's go next. I think realistically I could go up and weight again, but I don't want to. I think it's a pro tip to all my workouters in the chat. Never go too hard on shoulders. It's such a crucial muscle that you really don't want to mess up. I mean, you're doing chest, you're working your shoulders. Your shoulders, you're working your shoulders, and if you do something like dips, you're also kind of working your shoulders a bit. So always kind of lean. Well, like doing less instead of more, because I mean, you can rehab a bicep easier than you're gonna rehab a shoulder. There's like a couple things you don't want to bust up in your life, and that's knees, shoulders, back. Everything else, I feel like a little bit more doable. You know how fortunate it is that we humans, I guess I'm going to start with this. I am a believer in evolution. So if you don't believe in evolution, you're not going to like what I'm about to say. So sorry. But isn't it fortunate that we humans evolved at like the perfect time when there was like nothing like super duper awful living in the world? Like, can you imagine if humans, like, I mean, mammals never would have had the supremacy to get to primates to then get to humans during like the dinosaur era. Like, all the mammals were incredibly small and timid creatures who hid in holes and barely came out. So it's like impossible. But hypothetically, like, how awful it would have been to be a human 65 plus million years ago. I'm not sure that we would have been able to tame our environment the same way that we were able to. Because if we think about it, we believe humans evolved, in the Middle East originally, like in that area, general area. What did we really have to worry about? Nothing. Like, what are humans' natural, like, hypothetically, we don't have like machine guns. 10 humans versus a lion. We all have sharp, pokey sticks. I'm not scared of no lion. The lion's gonna die. It might get one of us. Maybe. But like, I don't know if you guys know this, but one of the key advantages to being human is our ability to throw things hard. Animals don't understand that, right? Animals are like raw XD. But like, claws, teeth, hit you with body, like attack you physically. You throw a rock at a creature with the velocity that we are able to, and the accuracy at which we are able to throw, and that creature's like, huh? Huh? Like that. I'm gonna upgrade that from a rock to a sharpened stick. Big ouchie right in chest. Get out of here. Because animals are predispositioned to go into the fight. Just we are too, like fight or flight. Animal doesn't understand where this sudden pain has come from the stick that you just threw at it, because it doesn't understand. It's just like, ow, pain, must leave. Because, breaking an arm in our society as humans, not going to kill you. Breaking a leg as a lion, you are dead. It's over. You think healthcare in America is bad? Lion healthcare is awful. Like, really, really bad. Let's get this final set in. That's why their premiums are so high. The mortality rate if you're injured as a lion is like 100%, right? So like, nobody wants to cover you. I finished my, not me wanting to yap mid-set. Let me shut my mouth. Sheesh. We're going to attempt to go for max stack out. Bonk my head. Negative 1,000. Anyway, what I was saying mid-set was, I finished my playthrough of Fallout. Slightly later than I wanted to, but more or less just in time to play Shadow of the Erdtree, the much anticipated expansion for Elden Ring. I love me some Miyazaki writing. No, not like Howl's Moving Castle Miyazaki. The Dark Souls writer Miyazaki. I do love me some Howl's Moving Castle, don't get me wrong. But super excited. I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna put my chicken in the oven, I'm immediately going to start playing that. Even though I'm kind of behind, I still have to go to Mohgwyn Palace and kill Mohg. That means nothing to most of you. But, because I started my playthrough like a couple of weeks ago, I wanted to make sure my character was ready for the DLC, and my saves were all wiped. So I had to restart, and then I kind of dragged my feet when replaying the game. But that is our quest for tonight when I leave here. Let's get this first set. Very hard. What else I want to yap about real quick? So obviously I play a lot of games. I consume a lot of literary content, like anything that has writing, story-heavy themes. If it's just shoveling action into my mouth, I'm not I'll watch it and I enjoy it, but I like narrative. And since I play a lot of video games, obviously there's been a bunch of adaptions semi-recently of video games into TV, into movies. And what I really have not been a super duper humongous big fan of is adapting video games into movies, into shows, and these pieces of media that I feel are really, really great as is. Writers just can't get out of their own heads and say, you know what, we're adapting this. Let's leave it as close to the original as possible because it is art in its original way. They feel the need to put their own spin on it and change things and adjust things that they think are better. And it's really annoying. I understand the argument of if you like the original art, consume the original art. But part of it's most people have not played The Last of Us. Most people are not going to play The Last of Us. So when The Last of Us is adapted into a TV show, I'm excited for the public to experience a narrative that is so rich, that is so nuanced, that I did only because I play video games. And then it comes out on TV, and don't get me wrong, it was good. And some of the things they added were fine, but they changed some crucial parts that I was just, man, I really just wish they left it as is. Have it more ambiguous, with Joel and Ellie in the ending, and what the doctors were trying to do. And it's just, I don't know. I left the show a little bit disappointed. On the one hand, I'm glad they got it in whatever form they did, but man, writers are just so up their own ass when it comes to this stuff. Just get out of your own way. If you want to create art that you love, you want to have your own hand in, create your own art. I guess that's my big gripe with Star Wars currently also. I love that you guys are writing Star Wars, but because I love the franchise. But I hate how we're changing it for societal reasons. If you want to have your allegory on the cultural issues of the world today, then create your own media that speaks to it. You don't have to change central themes and put out quotes we were trying to piss off white people, or whatever it is that you're doing with your new franchise or your new series in the franchise. To do that, you can just make your own art. So yeah, that's kind of my soapbox on current adaptions. Because it's really funny how they adapt them and they flop, and it's not because the source material is bad, it's because the adaptation is bad. Because they try to change too much stuff, they try to make it original, make it unique, make it their own, and you just don't have to do that. That's why I'm fearful. There's been talks of a Metal Gear Solid, live action thing for a while. I love, one of my all-time favorite franchises, a little bit goofy, a little bit contrived at times, but God, it is such a cool story. Talking about control and nanomachines in the future, and perhaps how politics are controlled behind the scenes by shadow organizations, and all kind of stuff, kind of tinfoil hatty type stuff. But it's a very interesting narrative for what it's speaking to, and I always die a little bit inside when something I love like that is adapted and it sucks. Because then, if I ever talk about it in public, oh, Metal Gear Solid? Yeah, I saw the Netflix show. It wasn't that good. It's but that's not what I'm talking about. Let's go set. I'm kind of done. Shoulders are kind of hurting. I'm gonna do one more set for the gram. So I'm gonna cut this off and I'll see you guys in the car for our end cap. Gym culture is so like, don't get me wrong. There are toxic people who go to the gym. There are people who are doing it for attention. There are people who are looking for like clout on their like Instagram and their TikTok, and then will post people. They'll do really mean things, and I don't agree with any of that. But my experience has just been so like wholesome. Like people like, you know, asking me for my for my YouTube, just saying hi because they're nice, asking me about my workouts, complimenting me on my physique, and like I compliment them back, and it is just so wholesome, right? When like you meet the right people or you find a really good gym. I'm talking about this because as I left, like two different people that I kind of like had just like the babyest interaction, like went out of their way to like fist bump me and tell me what up, and I love that, right? Like that's what you should do, man. Like I don't want to like get too cliche where like these people are your family, but you know everybody going to the gym I think is kind of like-minded, right? They're trying to better themselves physically. They're perhaps trying to better themselves mentally, and I love the camaraderie that you can find in a gym when like you really do have wholesome people that are going. So I'm not like one of those people who's like, my challenge to you, all of you, outside of like mental stuff, I like challenge you guys mentally here and there, like, hey, you know, do your best tomorrow, I believe in you type beat. But you know, if you do want to step out of your shell and you see someone like a girl boss who's killing it, or like a dude who's got a sick physique, like if you like bump past with them, or like you catch them between sets or whatever, you're passing by, like the amount of good you can do by just saying, hey man, nice shirt, hey man, nice biceps, hey girl, nice quads. Like I wish I would have. There was a girl a while back that I saw at my old gym who had incredible legs. Like, I don't mean in like the sexual manner, but like you could tell she like squats. You could tell that she does her leg curls. You could tell she does her leg extensions, and like you like the muscle you could see like in a good way. And I really, 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 really wanted to just say, hey, like you have really great legs. Like whatever you're doing, it's like you look great. Like keep it up. But you know, me constantly being worried about how I'm perceived, and I don't want to like make anybody uncomfortable. I never did. Once a week, I think about this girl and I kick myself in the booty for not saying it because, you know, maybe she could have just used the compliment. I think we all could just use the compliment. And I want, that's like kind of like my next like mental hurdle that I'm trying to like surpass. When I want to compliment someone, I just should, right? No ulterior motives. Like if I think you're killing it, I just want to tell people you're killing it, even if it's in a public space. And if they think I have bad intentions, I'm sorry, but hopefully I can just do it and it's a good thing and people appreciate it. And because that's like the kind of energy I want to put out in the world. I want people to be happy in their own skin. I want to tell people like they're killing it in their hobbies. I want to like hopefully, if someone's like, you know, having a little bit of body dysmorphia after going to the gym for a really long time, be able to be like, hey, you're doing great, keep it up. And then like that helps them like shift their mental. As I've kind of said before, Rome wasn't built in a day. This road to building ourselves and being better is one brick at a time on a road that you may never complete. And for me, I think my next thing that I want to be better at is just genuinely complimenting people and telling them how amazing they are, just in public, just randomly. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully I can, even if it's like a tiny impact. It's the same idea with my YouTube. Like, I just want to make an impact. Nobody will ever maybe remember my name, right? I'm not going to be president of the United States. I'm not going to, you know, lead to the discovery of like true cold fusion and solving our energy crisis or anything like that. But if I can just in some way impact the lives around me in a positive manner, then that is mission accomplished, I think. And that's kind of what I'm striving to do. So with that being said, that is the end for our shoulder and chest day. I had a really good workout. Shoulders are feeling it. Got a good little chest pump. This is our rest day, so hope all of you are having a fantastic weekend, and I hopefully, ideally, will see all of you on either Monday or Tuesday for our next week of gym therapy. So until then, work on yourself, be nice to those people around you, and I am looking forward to our next conversation.